why normal physio won't fix your knee pain and what you can do instead that's about 10 times more effective. So we'll jump into it. Obviously, if you jump on, just drop any comments in the chat down below. So to get started, what would I class normal physio as? Well, hands-on treatment, so massage maybe around your knee, on your quadriceps, on your calves, on your hamstrings, or taping around your knee. 3 random exercises on a bit of paper. What I mean by this is they're typically not very well thought out. Maybe they're underloading you and under preparing you for what you want to get back to, if that's sport, or you're just told you just need to rest your knee maybe for a few weeks and then it'll magically get better. The reason none of these things don't work is because, number one, they only focus on pain. And what I mean by that is we obviously want to reduce pain during rehab, but it actually shouldn't be the primary focus. It should be the byproduct of improving other things. So if you just focus on reducing pain in the short term by getting your quads rubbed, or you're just told to rest your knee, feels good in the short term, but you're actually becoming deconditioned. You're starting to lose strength, mobility, and confidence. And these are the things you actually need to focus on with rehab. As well as this, you also become reliant, that's a spelling mistake, reliant on that therapist or coach to keep giving you this treatment, and it's not actually giving you long-term results to fix your knee pain and get back to what you want to be doing. So what does work? As I mentioned, focus on improving physical qualities and good education around the real cause of your knee pain. This allows you to take ownership of your rehab, and your physio or coach is there to guide you. They don't actually fix you by giving you a massage, which is obviously why online rehab for me, working with clients, works. Otherwise it wouldn't be very successful, because again, it's actually focusing on improving physical qualities such as mobility, strength, confidence, conditioning, and education. So you don't need someone to touch you to fix your knee pain. So today I'm going to run over some simple concepts for mobility and strength, some exercises you can do straight away to start to help your knee pain. So to start with, we've got mobility. Tibial rotation. The tibia is your shin bone, so it's the bone between your knee and your ankle. And all we're going to do in this exercise is encourage your tibia to externally rotate, so an outward roll, and then roll inwards. The reason we're doing this is because it's actually a really important part of knee health, and in order for your knee to bend well, your tibia needs to roll outwards well and roll inwards well. And obviously if you've been dealing with knee pain, you'll know that bending your knee is painful and therefore you will avoid it. So you'll notice this might be a bit stiff. So I'm going to play this through. You're going to set up in this position with your back against the wall, and then you're going to have your knee bent, heel on the floor, and you're very gently going to pop both hands just below your kneecap, and you're gently going to rotate your tibia outwards and inwards, guiding it with your hands. I don't want you to lead with your foot, so your foot will just come as a byproduct of your shin bone rotating. This is a sensation exercise, so compare each side. You should notice a decent difference between the injured side and your non-injured side. And you can run through 1 to 2 sets of 20 reps on each side. Again, don't rush through this, just be slow, controlled, methodical. Next exercise. So pronation. What is pronation? Well, all pronation is if you imagine your foot, you've got an arch in your foot, and pronation is closing that arch. Why is that important? Well, in order for your knee to bend effectively, your arch needs to be able to open and close effectively. So in order to do this, we can do this simple drill. This is just a video I sent to a client, so ignore the captions down below. So you're going to set up in this staggered stance. In this staggered stance, so one leg forward, one leg back. You can just see my other leg. And we're going to start in this position. So your leg is straight and your weight should be in your heel. And all you're very gently going to do is bend your knee. So then the weight is into the middle of your foot and you've got a positive shin angle. So your knee is coming past your malleolus here, this little bone here, or your ankle. And then you're going to come back out and in. And then you'll notice here what I'm also explaining is as I'm out here, so as my knee is straight, I've got a little arch in my foot, which is good. And then as I bend my knee, I'm actively trying to close that arch, which is what pronation is. So you can now see my foot is a lot flatter. A lot of people really struggle to do this because on exercises like squats and lunges, they've constantly been cued knees out. And we actually want your knees to cave in and your foot to pronate to improve how your knee's bending and improve your knee health. So all you're going to do here, again, 1 to 2 sets of 15 to 20 reps on each side. So again, as you come out, pressure's in your heel, you've got a nice little arch in your foot, big toe and heel are staying in contact with the floor, then you don't want to do this, so I'm just demonstrating you don't want to aggressively go as far as you can. It's just a sensation exercise. So pressure on your heel, then pressure in the middle of your foot and closing that arch. So bend, close the arch, and then come out, open the arch. Very, very simple. So again, you can do both of these mobility bits daily, 1 to 2 sets, 15 to 20 reps. Really, really nice to get other areas moving that affect the knee. Then we've got another part of mobility, hip internal rotation. So again, a lot of the times with knee pain, you will get a massive discrepancy side to side in terms of hip mobility, and this can just put a lot of slack and pain in other places such as your knee. So we've got a nice way to improve this, which is a kickstand hinge. So you're going to stand on one leg, you're going to get a little knee bend on that front leg, and you notice my hand position. So one hand, opposite hand into your hip crease, and then hand on the same side over your bum or glutes. Then you're going to pop that back leg down just for a little bit of support, and you simply go to hinge. So I'll just pause in this bottom position. So to hinge, you're going to send your hips back, and I actually want you to keep your weight forward. So you'll notice in this hinge, my heel on my front leg is actually off the floor. So it's not like a deadlift or an RDL where it's hips back and weight into your heels. It's hips back, but we're keeping the weight forward. You're going to hinge as deep as you can, so you're not losing your back position, and then you should feel a really big stretch on your glutes. If you don't feel a stretch on your glutes in this bottom position, it's probably because your weight is too far back, which means your hamstrings are doing too much work, or you've rounded through your back and your lower back is picking up the slack. And all you're going to do once you've found this bottom position is just hold there for 25 to 30 seconds for 1 to 2 sets. So again, if I run through how to set up, we're going to stand on one leg, little knee bend to get our weight forward. We're going to maintain that knee bend to keep our weight forward. Then we're going to slowly hinge, hips back, heads forward. Imagine I've got a bit of string attached to my head and someone is pulling me forward. I can't come back. My heel can come off the floor. I'm going to go as deep as I can into that hip. 1 to 2 sets, 30-second hold, and then repeat on the other leg. And again, this one you should notice a big difference in terms of how easy it is to sit into each side. So there are all the mobility aspects that you can do daily. 1 to 2 sets, the rep schemes I mentioned. Then we've got strength. So the hamstrings are a massive part of knee pain, and this can massively help reduce your knee pain initially. One of the best exercises I start people off with. So you're going to need a foam roller for this. You're going to lie on your back, knees bent at about this angle, and then your feet are roughly going to go flat on the foam roller on the middle of your foot, so your heels are slightly hanging off. From this position, you're going to tuck your pelvis, so you'll see me doing this here. Tuck in my pelvis so your lower back is flat into the floor. From this position, then you're going to lift your hips about ½ centimetre off the floor, and you're going to keep your heels really high. So now in this position, my hips are really low, but they're off the floor, and my heels are really high. You're just going to hold this position. Your hamstrings, so these muscles here, and your muscles between your knee and your hip on the back here, and then calves here should be working really hard. You're just going to hold this position, try to build up to 3 to 4 sets of 45 to 60 seconds. So again, we're not lifting our hips really high like in a glute bridge. Your glutes shouldn't be working. I want your calves and hamstrings working. Again, don't let your heels drop because then your calves won't be working very hard. So you can do this exercise. I'm just demonstrating what not to do here. So don't hike your hips up really high. I'll just show you here. Yeah, so don't do that. You can do 3 to 4 sets, 45 to 60 second hold, 3 times a week, paired with this nice little exercise, which is a single leg wall sit to target the quads, so the muscles on the front of the knee between your knee and your hips. So Single leg wall sit, really simple to set up. Back and bum are going to stay in contact with the wall. And then you want to sit as low down the wall as you can. Bending your knee more is obviously going to be a bit more painful. So if your knee pain is quite irritable, start nice and high on the wall where you only have a little bit of knee bend, and you're just going to hold that position for 45 seconds. 3 to 4 sets again, but this time doubled up because you're going to do it on each leg. Obviously on your good leg, try go a lot deeper. Try get down to a 90-degree knee bend. Obviously on your weaker or injured side, just start nice and high like I'm doing here. A little bit of pain is okay. So if you imagine a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is the worst pain imaginable, 0 is no pain. As long as you're working within that 0 to 3 out of 10 pain score range, you're absolutely fine. So quads, again, you compare this, I'd go hamstrings, then quads. Then you can do this one as well 3 times a week for your glutes. A double leg hip thrust or glute bridge. So you're going to set up in this position with your upper back on bench. Your feet are going to go under your knees. You're going to tuck your chin slightly so your back is in a nice relaxed position. You're going to let your bum come down to this bottom position, and then you're just going to squeeze your glutes up to this top position all the way through. You can start at body weight for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Most people should find this fairly easy. Once this gets easy, then you can just do a single leg glute bridge, which is a lot harder. Exact same exercise form, just take one leg off the floor and do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps on each side. Once this gets too easy, then you can add a weight into your hips like a kettlebell or a dumbbell. So that one is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Then we have the final kind of piece of the puzzle, which is something a lot of people just don't train very well, which is calves. So ideally you want a Smith machine for this because we actually want to load the calves really heavy. A lot of people make the mistake of training their calves in the 15 to 20 rep range when actually your calves are one of the strongest muscles in your lower body, and we need to train them in a much lower rep range, like 3 to 5 reps. So for the calves here, we're going to do 3 sets of 5 reps on this straight knee calf raise. So you want a plate or a mat to elevate the leg that you're working on, half of your foot on, half of it off, and then I'll just play this through. So you're going to get into this bottom position so your heels touch the floor, and then you're going to squeeze all the way up to the top position. Again, you want to load this as heavy as you can for 5 reps, and the Smith machine allows you to do that very easily. Just make sure you're not cheating, and make sure your other leg is fully off the ground. Nice and controlled tempo. So again, just to run through this, for the strength stuff, I would just start off with 3 times a week, 3 to 4 sets of a 45 to 60 second hold on the foam roller bridge. Then 3 to 4 sets of a 45 second hold on the single leg wall sit for your quads. Then 3 sets of 8 reps on a double leg glute bridge or a single leg glute bridge, or whatever you find challenging. And then 3 sets of 5 reps on these calf raises. So again, the daily mobility stuff, tibial rotation, 1 to 2 sets, 20 reps. Pronation, 1 to 2 sets, 15 to 20 reps. Kickstand hinge for hip internal rotation, 1 to 2 sets, 5 reps, and then the strength stuff 3 times a week. If you are interested in fixing your knee pain and you want to work with me, just check out the top link down below.